Oh man, you guys have told us about Canik, and today we finally have the Mete MC9 for review. Let's check it out. We here at Pew Pew Tactical subscribe to the idea that guns are fun. So if you want to support us, please hit the like and subscribe button. In exchange, we'll provide you with a cringy gun meme. All right, folks, so we finally have the Canik, and I'm probably murdering the name, Mete MC9. This is a gun that has come to us highly recommended by a lot of you folks. And it is a micro compact in this configuration, 12+1 capacity, striker fired pistol, but it also comes with a 15-round magazine with a bigger floor plate here on the bottom. That will be much appreciated by people with hands like me who have a hard time finding some real estate for their pinky when they finally get into small guns like this. As far as an overview, let's talk about ergonomics. We've got a nice curve back here, pretty good space on the beaver tail here. It doesn't jut out, but you know, based upon its profile as being a concealed carry handgun, you probably want to keep it pretty smooth, clean lines here. We've got a very thin angle to it. I want to point that out. It's probably an inch wide, right around there. So very flat as far as that. On the grip, besides being pretty flat, you've got some curve in the back on the back strap, but there are other back straps that you can use if you want to adjust it to better fit your hand size. Pretty decent rough texture, all four sides there. Got a little bit of a gap here at the bottom where there's a swell if you need to dig in and grab the floor plate on the magazine. You've also got some hollowing on both sides of the grip as it goes toward the trigger, and then a nice undercut underneath the trigger guard. There's some serrations on the front of the trigger guard, if you can get to those. And then of course we've got an accessory rail up front. For the controls, got a really nice trigger here. We'll get into that a little bit more. So as far as the magazine release, pretty well placed. But one thing that I would note is I'm not positive whether it's reversible. I've looked on the website and don't see it. I know that the slide release is ambi and even comes with a couple of different links, but the magazine release itself is not listed as ambi. However, I'm seeing online that there might be some resources where you can switch it out to the other side for left-handed folks. Head over to the article and make sure you check there to get the final answer on that one. You've got a set of serrations front and rear, and you've also got a chamber indicator. But then your sights are standard white dot up front and then a serrated black rear, but also obviously the Mete MC9 is optics capable. Okay folks, I want to show the chamber indicator. So it's flat now, but watch, now you've got a little bump there, and you can clearly see that even through the sights and through a red dot. And so one thing that I appreciate about the Mete MC9 is that the optic well is really pretty deep. So we're gonna get out and shoot this thing and give you our impressions on how it runs. All right, so we're here at 7 yards. We're gonna do our standard testing, which recently has changed to include 10 shots of defensive ammo, in this case Nosler 124 grain, and we're gonna start with that. So uh-oh. So that was, looks like a failure to feed. Let's try that again. It's definitely a failure to feed. Let's see if there's anything wrong with this round. It's got a little bit of a wonky shape to it. Let's call that, let's, uh-oh. Okay, let's try to pick this up again. All right, let's go check that out. So not quite 10 rounds, but holding up a little bit right here. You see pretty well grouped together, several in each of those holes. I had a couple of issues with the hollow points not feeding. It would just kind of get hung up on the feed ramps, but we're still kind of in the break-in period for this firearm, so that's not entirely unexpected. All right, so we had some feeding issues with the Nosler 124 grain hollow points. Tore down the Canik, cleaned up the feed ramp, because that seemed to be the place where it was having the issue, and applied a fairly liberal CLP. Got these again, going to demonstrate that we're empty again, and load them up, see what happens. Okay, probably just a lubrication situation. I'm out of battery. Won't go into battery. Okay, let me demonstrate this. It's in the extractor and it's a live round. So it was being held by the extractor and it's crimped the edge just a little bit. Okay, so we're having some feeding issues. Tried the 124 grain Nosler defensive ammo and couldn't get it to load. It was hanging up. So now we're switching to some SIG Elite. This is 147 grain, also hollow points. We're going to try these out. We've cleaned and lubricated the gun. See if these will load. Okay, let's break them loose. Yeah, that was me. Okay, so they ran just fine, and my big thumb hangs up on the slide release, per usual. Now we're moving on back to our accuracy portion with just regular FMJ. Now this is AAC 115 grain. We use these in a lot of our reviews, in fact, most of our reviews. We did clean and lube because we had some problems with feeding, and we found some SIG defensive ammo that ran perfectly, so we had no issues. Don't anticipate that there will be any issues with the FMJ. Let's shoot our 10-shot group here at 7 yards and see what kind of accuracy we can get with the FMJ. All right, everything fed well. Let's go check out the groups. So I absolutely jerked that one. I remember that one pretty clearly, but everything else pretty good. Like a solid 7 rounds touching there, and decent accuracy. I have to point out that for me, this is a very small firearm for my hands. I'm using the 15-round magazine because that gives me extra purchase and allows me to hang on to it, provide a little more accuracy and a little easier recoil recovery. Hey folks, I want to remind you that I wrote a review. You can find it on pewpewtactical.com. Head over and check it out. The link is in the description below. Let's talk about the trigger. So one of the things that I like about the Canik Mete MC9 is the shoe is a nice rounded face. It's kind of ribbed, so it's got good texture on this front of it. Also, the safety device is flat and flattens out with the trigger when you press it back, so you don't notice it when you start building pressure on the trigger. So what I'm going to do here is pull back to there. That's where the wall begins. So pretty short distance of travel, and now you've got a wall of resistance. I'll go ahead and break the shot. A little bit of travel, and now let's demonstrate reset. It's immediate, it's right there. So again, release all the way. We'll demonstrate it one more time. Pull to the wall, start building that pressure, and break the shot. So to add to the ability of our audience members to be able to discern different things about the trigger, we're also including now the ability to dry fire it, just so you can hear exactly when that trigger breaks. So again, pull to the wall, that's right there, and then we'll break the shot. So it's a bit of a distance back, and then reset right there. So recoil management is going to be far more important when you have a smaller firearm like this. And what I've learned from Tactical Performance Center is to hinge my hands, create a lot of pressure, and when I'm holding that pistol up like this, I'm really strong in my wrists, but I'm also engaging my chest and my lats. I'm using all of this to try to keep a very stable platform and hold that gun and allow it to recoil, absorb some of that, but then get it immediately back in so that I'm able to get my sight picture reestablished and fire quickly. Works a lot better with a bigger gun when you have more mass. This, you're gonna have just a little bit more flip because that's just the way physics works. But if you use proper technique, you can get pretty good performance. Yeah, a little bit of a snap, but I much prefer that trigger. Hey, I actually got a lock back that time. All right, this is for my buddy Chris Sereno, the left-handed, one-legged, upside-down shot. It can be done. Special thanks to Palmetto State Armory for their AAC ammo. We shoot this stuff regularly and couldn't do it without their support. AAC ammo is reliable, accurate, and pretty affordable too. All right, we're about to get to our final thoughts, but before we do, we want to remind you one more time, we sincerely believe that guns are fun. This is why we provide you with so much information. If you want to support us in return, please hit that like and subscribe button down below. Right. Final thoughts on the Canik Mete MC9. Man, this is a cool little micro compact. Decent ergonomics. It's been pretty reliable. I got to point out that at one point we tried to feed it 115 and 124 grain Nosler hollow points, and it did not like them. Tore down the gun, cleaned it, put it back together again, still couldn't get them to feed. You need to be careful when you select your defensive carry ammo. We switched over to some SIG hollow points and it ran those perfectly, so there was no issue whatsoever there. So I'm kind of curious as to why that is. With the jacketed hollow points, just standard practice ammo, we really didn't see too many issues. If it got dry, there was an occasion to have the slide not go fully into battery, just a little tip on the back and it would get it back in, but that only happened a couple of times. So overall reliability is good. Accuracy I was really impressed with. Despite, going through a couple of different ammos, we were able to keep some pretty tight groups on our 7-yard testing. The trigger is one of the better components of this firearm. I really dig it. You've got a nice pull back to a wall where the pressure builds, and then you can cleanly break it through and get the shot. Now, the ergonomics do help a little bit with recoil, which is pretty snappy. Keep in mind, this is a micro compact, so you can't beat physics in that respect. You have to be able to hang on to this thing pretty well and mitigate that recoil to the best of your ability because of the smaller size, and still the 9mm is going to cause that snap to happen. So overall, really good package. And here's one of the interesting things. When you think about the total value, This gun is retailing anywhere from about $350 to $400 depending upon the retailer. You get a lot for that. Optics ready, 15+1 striker fired pistol, and it comes with quite a few accessories. I can't work in this environment. It's a highly deadly Amazon bug. So again, we want to thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.